Today we are grooming the itty bitty, teeny tiny Mr. Sproutalini, also known as Bean Sprout. How much do you weigh these days, Mr. Beanie? Stay. 3.8. You're getting chunky. Oh, you're a chunky boy. You are so tiny. All right, everyone, so I assume everybody here remembers Mr. Sprout. I adopted him a year ago last November. And when I adopted him, he was 2 pounds. He was severely underweight. He had absolutely no hair. He only had hair at the top of his head. Everything else was completely bald. And now he is a woolly mammoth. And I actually have not given him a haircut the entire time I've had him. You know, he's had some cleanups. I've trimmed his paws, I've trimmed his eyes, I've trimmed his not so sanitary areas, but I have not given him a full haircut. So today he's going to get his very first full haircut, because now you're like a chunky boy. You're putting on the weight. I was told when I adopted him that he was around 12 years old. He only had one tooth, which I had removed because it was very rotten. I don't actually know how old he is, but if he was around 12 years old, then that means he is now 13. But he is the most spry out of all of my dogs. He plays nonstop all day long, chases the cat, humps his favorite toy. He's always barking. Like, he has more energy than everybody. So it's surprising to me that he is that old. Now he does have really bad cataracts, and he essentially had no teeth when he was found. He was found as a stray, if you guys can believe that or not. So I assume that that's the reason why they think he's so old, and maybe he is. But it's also possible, I think, that he was suffering from really bad malnutrition, and that could be why he kind of lost his eyesight and why he lost all of his teeth. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but what I do know is that he is the best, and we were not supposed to keep him. We were supposed to foster him. But he has such a wonderful personality that both myself and the cameraman, mostly the cameraman, fell in love with him, and then we just could not rehome him. We had to keep him forever. And he fits in so well with my dogs, gets along with everyone. Purdy loves him, even though technically he wants to eat Purdy, and that's why he chases her and bites her and attacks her. She thinks it's just hilarious. And she gets him going on purpose because she loves it when he chases her and bites her, mainly because he has no teeth, so I don't think she cares. But yeah, him and the cat are one funny duo. I know, you hate it. Get over it, sir. Get over it, Mr. Sir. He's a little bit difficult for grooming, so I don't know how well this is going to go today. I, again, never had to given him a full haircut, so I don't know how well behaved he's going to be for it. But we shall find out. He has some very long nails, but that's because he has some very long quicks. So I actually cannot get them very short, unfortunately. What are you doing? Now, this little guy is a foodaholic. He is obsessed with food and will steal food at every opportunity. I don't know if that's because he was a stray and he was starving for a period of time, but this little guy will stop at nothing to find a little snack. You're like already dry. You dry so quickly? Oh, are you upset? Okay, here's your happy hoodie. Now we dry you. Must you go to the very corner of the frickin' table? You're just like Ace when I dry your face. It must be a Yorkie thing. You hate it. Okay, now Mr. Sprout hates being brushed, but we do have to brush you out before I can give you your haircut, buddy. The first thing I'm going to do is brush and trim your eye area. I know, I'm sorry. So that the camera can stop unfocusing because it can't find your eyes now that I've blow dried you. Now, right here where his tongue is, he gets all this weird gunky stuff. And he does not like when I comb it because it hurts. So I'm going to try to trim it all, which means he'll be short on that side of his face, but I don't really care. Okay. Now you might ask, why am I taking him short in the wintertime when it's cold outside? Well, because the snow is sticking to him. Stay there. And he doesn't like that. And then he doesn't want to pee on the grass where all the snow is, even if I shovel it. So it's better if I just take him shorter so that he doesn't have snow clinging to his long hairs. If I find little tangles like this, I'm just going to cut them out. Oh, look at you. Because one thing about this little guy, as mentioned, is he doesn't like brushing. So even though they're not really mats, they're just little tangles. And he does not like when I brush them. He gets very upset indeed. You're a sensitive little dude, aren't you? Okay. Buddy, you can't go into the corner. You can't. Let's attempt to trim you here. You've never had the clipper on your body and something tells me you're going to cower away. Okay, that's not really trimming anything. Let's try this again. So Sprout came from Happy's Place Senior Dog Rescue. So they are exactly what it sounds like. They take in the rescues, the dogs at risk of euthanasia, which this little guy was because he was decrepit when I got him. So he looked like a disaster. Medically, you know, I could see why somebody would not want to adopt him, but he looks a heck of a lot better now. And obviously, I failed at fostering and I ended up keeping him. And so I talked to the owner of the rescue and I said, you know, I would love to foster, I would love to help, but I failed at fostering Max, the Pomeranian. I failed at fostering Mr. Sprout here, so obviously I cannot be a foster and I cannot just keep all of the dogs in the land. So I said to her, you know, it sucks because I would love to be able to help, but obviously I'm not cut out to be a foster. And she said something to me very interesting, which is actually very helpful. And she said to me, you have to foster dogs that are not your type. And I said, what do you mean by that? And she said, well, you fostered a hairless Yorkie with its tongue sticking out, which is very much your type, and you fostered a hairless Pomeranian that was like 3 pounds, which is obviously your type. You have to foster dogs that aren't your type, so breeds of dogs that you wouldn't normally like to own or something along those lines. And I thought, you know what? That's really smart. So for example, I obviously love all dogs, but there are definitely dogs that I would not own, dog breeds I would not own. And so that was very smart. Foster dog breeds that aren't dogs you would typically own, because then it's easier to rehome them. Like, it's obviously not going to be the case in every situation. Like for example, I don't think I would ever own a pug. I just don't think I would love like all the pug noises. You know, I'm a very light sleeper. It would keep me up at night. You know, all the medical situations that come with pugs, you know, their breathing problems, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't necessarily want a pug. Now, there's always an exception to the rule, because you guys obviously know Meatball, that's been on the channel before, and he is a favorite of mine. So there's definitely going to be exceptions to the rule, but it does make sense. It made a lot of sense to me. So what she said to me was that she tends to foster young dogs or puppies because she does not like having puppies. She does not want to deal with the puppy stages. So she fosters them because she finds it a lot easier to rehome them, because she doesn't want all that extra work that comes with having a puppy. That makes a lot of sense. I am definitely past the stage where I enjoy having puppies at this point. I really prefer adult dogs. That's just my preference now. Puppies are a pain in the butt. They're a lot of work. Yes. Okay, I think the rest of you is going to have to be scissored. So for anyone out there who's interested in fostering and thinks that they might have the same problem that I had, it's just an interesting piece of advice. Try to foster dogs that are not normally your type of dog that you'd like to own, because sometimes, and obviously not all times, it can be easier to say goodbye to them when they're just not your type. She obviously has a lot of experience in, you know, rescue and foster, so I definitely take her word for what she's saying, because that, again, to me, makes a lot of sense. You need to have a trim, not just because you need a trim, but also because you are having your Christmas photos being taken tomorrow, Mr. Sir. And you have to look really cute and put together and not like the raggediness that you normally look like. However, because of Sprout's hair type, as soon as he goes outside, if it snows or rains before the photos tomorrow, which it's supposed to snow, he's going to get wet and his hair will get all disastrous again. He will probably look like a freak of nature for his pictures anyways, but it's okay because I actually have a photo in my house of Mr. Ace, and his hair is all crazy and he's dirty and his tongue is sticking out because he's playing with his ball and he's acting like a complete lunatic. And the cameraman says to me, you know, Zoe looks so great in these photos, Gidget looks so great in these photos, but you didn't groom Ace before these photos and he looks horrible. And I said, yeah, that was the point. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, I have lots of pictures of Ace with his sweet, adorable, perfect haircuts when he's all clean, but that's not really Ace. This is Ace, this menace to society who looks like he just crawled out of, you know, a frickin' natural disaster and hasn't seen the light of day or something in the past 20 years. That's what he normally looks like. And I wanted to be able to remember him in the future of what he normally looked like, not what he looked like when he was all nice and clean. Hopefully some of you guys get what I'm trying to say there. We did try to find Sprout's previous home because there is just no way that this dog survived on his own as a stray for very long. He had to have been in a home. And there were certain things about him that made me realize that he had been in a home. For example, when we first got him, he kind of just sat by the front door and like looked out the front door a lot as if he was waiting for someone. And then if he heard the doorbell ring, he would bark. So he obviously knew what a doorbell was. And in terms of housebreaking, while he did pee in the house a few times when I first got him, he also had a bladder infection. So that's probably why he peed. And as soon as I got his bladder infection taken care of, he started peeing outside. Now he does have accidents in the house here and there, but he knows he's supposed to pee outside. He will normally go to the door and whine. So he obviously had a home. You know, people thought, hey, maybe he was from a puppy mill, but he was neutered, and like dogs in puppy mills typically don't have any training, and they're not socialized, and they're scared of people, and you know, just all of those things. So he obviously had a human that clearly loved him because he's very affectionate and sweet and kind and playful. He loves to play with toys, you know. And when I say there's no way he survived on his own, well, first of all, he was found in November, so it was very cold outside. He had no hair, and also he had no teeth, so it's not like he was hunting and eating things. Buddy, I have to do your legs. I have to. So I know I tried really, really hard to find his people. I think there was even a news report on him. He was found in Quebec, right? So I believe there was a news report on him that went out in Quebec, but nobody claimed him. So I really wish I knew what your little story was, sir, but I do not. Obviously, I didn't know what this dog's name, his real name was, right? Hey, stay there. So I had to come up with a name. So I think I posted something on Facebook asking people to vote for, or to comment what they would name him. And then I took those comments, and my favorite ones from the comments I put in a tally or something. And then people voted on their favorite name, which they voted for Bean Sprout. But we didn't call him Bean, we called him Sprout because I thought that was funnier. Anyways, so it was surprising to me how quickly he learned his name, especially because he was a senior who obviously had a name his whole life. So that just goes to show you that if you adopt a dog and you don't love their name, you can certainly change their name, because if this potentially 12-year-old dog could learn a new name, then any dog can learn a new name. One of the names that was mentioned was Seymour, and that was my favorite name for him. I was really hoping that the tallies, when I did the vote, that Seymour would win, because I thought it just suited him so well. But Sprout won, and I still think Sprout's cute, but I just thought Seymour really suited him for some reason. No, I have to see your legs, sir. Thank you. You don't gotta fight me for everything. You're actually a little bit... Ace is difficult because he's so like little and bony, and he doesn't love grooming, but Sprout really hates having his legs touched, which is a bit of a pain, especially those front ones. It's already hard enough to make this type of Yorkie fur look nice, but it's even more difficult when they don't stop moving. Right, Sprout? Yeah, I'm talking about you. Good boy. Okay, I know you hate having your nails clipped. I know. Okay, let's move these scissors. Back ones are always quite short. I feel like no matter what I do, you always look like a mess. You never look put together. Your hair sucks. I need to shave your butt. Are you gonna let me shave your butt? Let me see. So I think you have some poop on it. What about your groin? Your penis is always sticking out, which makes it difficult to shave. It's not as far out today as it normally is. Now, I do post a lot about my dogs. I know I have the channel Girl with Her Dogs, which I've been neglecting lately. I'm going to do my best in the new year to make more content. But if you guys want to see more of my pets, I post to my Instagram and Facebook story every day. I post so many things of my pets doing hilarious stuff all the time. So if you want to see more of them, head over to Instagram or Facebook. They are linked below in the description for you. And you will see a lot more Purdy and doggo content. Okay, I need to just do your paws. I don't want to use the clippers on his paws. I'm just going to use the scissors because his paws are so frickin' tiny that I really don't have to use clippers to shave them. And I don't really go inside the pads because of how frickin' small his little paws are. Now, believe it or not, out of all of my little dogs, like even Gidget, and to put into perspective, Gidget's about 6 pounds. She's a little overweight right now, but she's about 6 pounds. He eats more than her. This dog is just constantly burning calories because he's constantly running around like a frickin' lunatic. So he actually needs to ingest more calories than the other dogs because the other dogs mostly sleep all day. So yeah, to put that into perspective, he's 3.8 pounds, Gidget is 6 pounds, and he eats more than Gidget. He eats more than a dog double his weight. No wonder why you were so skinny before, if you were a stray, barely eating anything, and you're always on the go like that. Now, Sprout does not like big dogs at all. He hates them. He hates Lupa. He will try to attack Lupa at any chance that he can get. Keep in mind that I adopted this dog a year ago. I don't know what his history is. I don't know why he hates big dogs so much. But there's not much I can do to correct the behavior. I know, buddy. Okay. So I actually keep him away from Lupa the majority of the time, just because Lupa doesn't really perceive him as a threat, because he's obviously so little. But if one day she decides, I don't like that this dog is attacking me, which would be her right, because, you know, why would she want that? And she decides to go after him, Sprout will not see the light of day again. So to keep everybody safe, I just don't let him around Lupa ever, unless it's via a leash and going for a walk, because if he's going for a walk, then he's more focused on the walk than he is Lupa. But yeah, he just hates her. Why? I don't know. I don't know, sir. Okay, you look really cute. The cameraman's going to be thrilled. If you guys liked this video and you want to see more adorable transformations just like Mr. Sproutalini, don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button and share with all of your friends. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again in a few days.